Women want men arrested for not dating them. This is where things have ended up right now, and it's only going to get worse. Today, we have a video from Manhood. His channel will be linked in the description of the video, so you can go and check him out and support his work. Why do women want men now arrested for not dating them, and what implications is that going to have on the future going forward? Watch to the end of the video to have all of those questions answered and more. Don't forget to follow Silver on Rumble. Our Rumble is linked in the description of the video. And don't let them tell you that you will own nothing and be happy. Go and check out Anger's Crypto Academy to learn how to buy, sell, and trade crypto while making massive profit. It's also linked in the description of the video, and you can scan the QR code on the screen. Like the video, turn on notifications to never miss another video ever again, and hit the subscribe button to help push us out into the YouTube algorithm. And now let's begin. So one of my subscribers, he basically said something really intriguing. He said, last year I dated, bought women food and drinks. This year I downloaded a PS2 emulator on my PC and started gaming almost every day after work. No dates, but I have saved 16,000 this year, just not spending money on women. So at the time of making this video, we are midway or roughly midway through October of 2025. There's still roughly around 2.5 months left in the year. So if you're doing the math right now, based on how much he's saving every single month, realistically, he will have saved close, if he continues at the same rate, he will have saved almost $20,000 in a single year by just not going out on dates. And you will find that the same will likely be true for a lot of men. It may not be as drastic, but as a lot of men will find that they save an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 by not going on dates, not preparing for dates, not investing in things that will attract women to them. Because it's not just going on the dates. There's the clothing, there's the car, there's there's the gas, there's the working extra hours for it. It all adds up. It all takes our energy away from us. It puts, and then that's on top of actually going on the dates, spending money on food, and everything else that comes with it. And women, of course, don't understand just how expensive a date is today. You can take a girl to a very simple restaurant and easily spend $100, because women, they don't feel the inflation of food cost when it comes to dates. Everything costs twice as much as it used to. So if it used to cost maybe $75 to $100 to take a girl on a nice date to a nice restaurant. That same restaurant is now $150 to $200, and you need to tip your waitress. So it adds up. If you go on just a few dates with a couple different women every month, and they all expect nice dates, a nice meal, you're spending thousands of dollars a month, minimum of hundreds. But if it's like a lot of dates, easily thousands. But just a few dates, we're talking about like 3 or 4 dates a month, because women don't feel it. Women don't feel it at all. They don't feel the investment at all. They don't comprehend. If you're averaging $150 per date, which is like the minimum right now for a decent restaurant, because women don't want to do coffee dates anymore. If you're averaging 150 and you go on just 4 dates, that's $600 a month. And women, it's like they don't see it because it's not coming out of their own pockets, so they don't feel it. So you're basically spending $7,000 a year plus if you're averaging just 4 dates a month. And if you factor in the cost of gas, the cost of clothing, the cost of everything else that goes into taking a woman on these dates, the extra cost it puts on car maintenance, travel, all of this stuff, you can easily round that off to $10,000. And if you live in a place like Miami, it's going to be much more expensive. A place like New York, it's going to be much more expensive. That's just for a few dates a month. Women are used to going on multiple dates in a single month. If men try to go on just 4 dates a month, it's extremely expensive. But women are so disconnected, right? Now here's where things get interesting. So this guy saved upwards of over 16, well, roughly 16,000, and he's on route to save $20,000 this year, or close to 20,000 this year. But guess how women respond to this? Because they're panicking now, as men are no longer marrying, no longer going on dates, no longer jumping into relationships. And look at the response. So I posted his comment, and we got a lot of I posted his comment to the community tab, and we got a lot of responses. But this was a response from this lady. What does she say? She says, "People are so backwards. If your idea of women is people who require thousands and thousands to impress, you're dating the wrong women. No need to be an INCEL gamer. Just don't have taste in gold diggers. IHATE, the internet." Guys, so just because he decided, this is a person who was going on dates and dates and dates, spending money on women, and just because he decided that just because he stopped dating for this year, so this is not a guy that was being rejected by women. He was getting plenty of dates, but he decided that he just didn't want to do it anymore, and instead downloaded a PS2 emulator, started playing games after work, and saving his money. And there's no anger, there's no misogyny, there's just literally him just, you know, chilling at home instead of going out on dates. If you're not going on dates, you're an INCEL. You're an INCEL gamer. How are you an INCEL gamer? You're not PlayStation 2 is offline. I know that there are probably some workarounds where you can find a way to play like local, or most PlayStation 2 games are mostly offline. There were a handful of games like SOCOM and I don't know, those like Final Fantasy 11 that had an online functionality back, 20 years ago. Those servers have long been offline. Again, you can probably find like some very niche communities where people are still playing these games together, but most PlayStation 2 games are completely offline. And here is a guy who's playing off old school offline games at home, minding his business, saving his money, and he gets called an INCEL gamer for that. And what happened? We already know that if you're called that, that is a tactic that they're using to not only shame you but to characterize you as DANGEROUS. And if you're that, then that means that you basically are someone that should not be in society. They're trying to get us arrested, y'all. They're basically trying to say, if men are not out there dating, if men are not out there giving their money to women, if men are not subsidizing them, then that's a problem. They should not be allowed to sit at home and have fun. They should not be allowed to have their peace. They should not be allowed to save their money. You see, this women told men, leave us alone. They said there's videos all over the web of women saying, men, do not approach women that you do not know. Don't approach women that you do not know. And they've said it over and over and over. M2 was scorched earth. And even after M2, They kept pounding the ground. And men finally listened. Men stopped approaching. Men walked away. Men make quick shops to the grocery store, and then they go home. You see, think about this very carefully. A lot of men are living in solitude now. Solitude is what? Solitary confinement, like prison. So, and I'm not saying being alone at your in your home is solitary. Is solitary is like is prison. But think about it. It effectively works the same way. If men are completely withdrawn from society, it might be it's a nice cell, but it's still a cell. And again, you have to understand in prison, there's a lot of men who prefer solitary confinement. They don't want to be in Gen Pop. They want to stay in solitary. The prison knows they want to stay in solitary, and they keep them there. Everyone is happy because they don't want to put up with the crap from others. They don't want to have to deal with BS, prison politics, none of that. They're in their cells, safe and sound, 23 hours a day. They get to leave 1 hour a day to go take a shower and work out a little bit in a tiny room sometimes. And that's their lives. And the thing is about this is that that's how it works for a lot of men today. A lot of men barely see the outside world. Outside of going to work and going out to grab groceries, and they're in and out, they barely go out, they barely see the outside world. If they have a backyard, maybe. But a lot of men are happy to stay inside, mind their business like they were told to, leave women alone, and that's it. And now women are angry because they cannot survive without the economy that men provide, without the utility and value that men provide. And what happens when women can no longer use men, have men subsidize them through relationships, dating and marriage? And what do women do? They only have a couple of options. They don't have many options. They have three options, and we know what those options are now, don't we? Because they always turn to them. Guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. They only have three options to choose from. So, what are those options, guys? I'll tell you what those options are. They have the state, so they go to the state to subsidize them, to provide for them, because they traded men for the state. They have the simp economy, so that's basically things like Only Fools, Lonely Fans, okay? TINDR, dating platforms. That's the simp economy right there. So they have the state, Uncle Sam, the government. They have the simp economy, and then they have the streets. What are the streets? Well, if they can't get the money from the state, or it's not enough, or they can't get their money from the simps, or it's not enough, then there's only one other place for them to go: the streets. And what do they do in the streets? The world's oldest profession. Okay? They work as evening delights. Okay? And that's how it goes. So it's either the state, the Sims, or the streets. When men walk away, Those are their only options. And if you notice, they turn to the state. Where does the money come from the state? Men pay 80% of all taxes while women make 80% of all consumer purchases. So they turn to the state to get a cut of the funds that the state has taken from men. And they say, we need that. We need some of that. But it's not enough. So they go to the simp economy, okay? Because simps are not normal men. Simps are a different class of men. And they say, hey, simps, give us money. And the simps, of course, the simp economy is oversaturated. There are way too women trying to depend on and live on these simps. And a lot of simps are tired of suffering. Are they broke now? So they're retired. They're retiring from the game, or they're stepping out for a bit, or if they decide to continue playing the game, they're the ones with the leverage. So they're not going to spend more than a certain amount of money on Only Fools, on Lonely Fans. So I mean, keep in mind the average Only Fools individual person who has an OnlyFools model only makes around $150 a month, even though they want to convince every woman that they can make millions. The average only makes around $150 per month, which is why so many of them end up leaving it and going to find other jobs. So if the state isn't enough, the Sims aren't enough, then there's only one option left. It's the streets, because they can't afford anything. They can't survive. They're in the streets. So they have to basically go back to the world's oldest profession. And this is where we're at right now. We're in a place where they've made it very, very clear that not only do they not like us, but if we don't subsidize them, they will resort to the only tactics that they have: shame, insults, guilt, gaslighting, because they need to be right. This is intriguing because, as I said, it's essentially the equivalent of men now in being incarcerated almost. So if men are basically locked away in prison cells, if men are locked away in prison cells away from women, they're not playing online games, right? Because women, look at what's happened with online gaming. Women have basically argued that there's so much misogyny in online gaming, so you have men retreating from online gaming. Men have left the workforce, increasingly dropped out. They've left the gyms, they've left the bars, they've left the clubs, they've left the coffee shops, they've left society, even online spaces. They're increasingly leaving online gaming, playing offline games. And women don't like that. So if men are alone, not even alone, not speaking to one another, isolated, but find any derivative of happiness simply being alone and not focused on providing for women and subsidizing their lifestyles, women are going to say that they don't feel safe. So even if men are locked away, even if men are locked away, and women don't see them, they're not there. Let's say the state has it's basically a soft imprisonment. That's what it is. It's a soft form of imprisonment. So men are imprisoned, men are locked away. You don't have to worry about those mean old men. You don't have to worry about them. They're gone now, ladies. What do women say? They basically call these men DANGEROS, even though these men are not accessible. These men are not there. The men are gone. Because, of course, women have no other tactics to use other than misandry. other than blaming men, other than shaming men. That's their toolkit. That's their toolkit. Gaslighting. That's their toolkit. So the more men disappear, the more men vanish, the more that women will say that they are that men in general are a THREATH THREAT. How ridiculous is that? But it's emotionally driven because they don't process things using reason, using facts. They reason using emotions. And the emotions are always going to be centered around a victim narrative where they're the powerful victims and we are the pathetic villains. And the outlook, we already know what that is. It's women struggling for survival, women basically fighting themselves at the mercy of the state, of the Sims, of the streets. Where is it ultimately heading? Them having to live in their cars in the coming years, live in their cars, live in shelters, live on the streets, go hang out with Yogi and Boo Boo, live in the woods with Yogi and Boo Boo. But they don't want to hang out with Yogi and Boo Boo. They said they would rather the bear, but now they don't want to go hang out with Yogi and Boo Boo. The hypocrisy. They want men arrested for not dating them. They want men arrested for playing video games instead. How ridiculous is that? Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA Men walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.